So, welcome. Before we dive in, I want to get a sense of who we have in the room, those who are joining us. So, if you can drop in the chat, let me know what you do. Are you a developer? Are you a student, a product person, or something else entirely? And have you also used any AI tool before, even if it's just ChatGPT? Let me know. Yeah, so let's have that trickle in before we proceed. All right. So while you're sending that, today we're going to break down AI agents, what they are, and why they matter, and also how you can start using them right now. Whether, as I mentioned, whether you're a developer or someone who has never written a line of code before, there is something for you here today. There are takeaways for you. All right. So moving on, a quick intro about me. I'm Temitayo Timi, a senior software engineer. I build intelligent systems across AI, infrastructure, and product development. I recently moved to Portugal with my family, and I'm also a boy dad of two who are keeping me on my toes. If there is one thing moving countries teaches you, it's how to figure things out fast. And that's basically what I do with technology. I've built an AI powered learning tool that helps over 130,000 distance learning students improve their grades. And also at work, I built an AI agent that recommends products to users. In today's session, I want to share with you what I've learned along the way and also show you how these tools can work for you too. Awesome. All right. So before I give any definitions of AI, I want to hear from you. What is AI? How do you define AI? What does AI mean to you? If you can put that in the chat, there are no wrong answers. You can, I just want to have a feel of, your definition and perspective of AI. Okay, so while the chat is trickling in, let me let me share how I think about AI, how I define it. For AI, there are two levels. You have the LLMs, which are mostly called large language models. These are AI systems that understand and generate language. You must have used one of these before. If you've used ChatGPT, you've used Gemini, those are large language models. And this is what, so basically, for LLM, you ask it something, it responds. And the second level is agents, the AI agent. So an agent does not just talk, it acts, it can send email, pull data from a spreadsheet, create files, search a document. When you use ChatGPT, for example, you can put in your query and say, maybe recommend or let me say summarize a document, or you know check if your text or your email is grammatically correct, etc., like that. But for agents, you ask it to do things, like look at my schedule, what's coming up next in my schedule, or you know, use a tool to plan my day or to plan my calendar. You know, so think of it this way: an LLM is a very smart colleague who gives advice, and an agent is like a smart colleague as well, but it does not just give advice; it also does the work for you. So in chat, okay, so in chat, let me know what other examples of AI usage or LLM usage that you use in your day to day. If, for example, I've highlighted some of them here. You can use AI to draft emails and messages, summarize long documents, research and compare options, plan trips and meals. You can, for developers, you can use it to write and debug code, generate tests, refactor legacy code, and you can also use it to build prototypes fast. So let me know what your other usage of LLM are in chat. Welcome, comfortable associates. Yeah. So basically, the point is that this is not futuristic. When we talk about AI, it's not something that is going to happen in future. It's already here. It's what we've been living with for the past couple of years. And people are using these tools every day to save, hours every week. All right, so let's look at the AI ecosystem. This is the landscape right now. You have the models themselves, like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Llama, DeepSeek. And then you also have AI powered code editors like Cursor and Windsurf, Antigraphity, etc. And these tools let developers build entire products with AI assistance. MCP clients are tools that connect AI to your data, and we'll talk about that very shortly. Then there are automation platforms like Zapier and N8N that lets you chain AI into your workflows without writing code. So the takeaway here is that AI is not one tool, it's an ecosystem. And the magic happens when you combine all of these pieces together. Okay, so moving on. So what are MCPs? MCPs stand for Model Context Protocol. Think of MCP as a universal connector that that connects your data or your tools, etc., to LLMs. So right now, if you chat with an AI, it only knows about what you type into it. It only understands the context you provide to it. But with MCP, that changes. That changes that. So imagine you're a company. Imagine you're an insurance company, for example, right? You have some documents, maybe agreement, etc., like that. And you would like to provide these as context to an LLM so that when you are interacting, maybe you want to understand when a contract expires, when a premium, when a customer's premium would expire, things like that. MCP allows you to connect your data wherever they are to an LLM. So other examples are you also have the GitHub repositories, your Google Drive, your database, You can connect them using MCP. So why does this matter? This matters because without context, AI is just guessing. AI is hallucinating. You know, let's say you are an insurance company, right? And then you want to look at the last five sales or the last five contracts that your company's sold. If you don't provide the necessary data, if the AI or the agent does not understand who your customers are, when the contract was signed, etc., like that, it will be unable to, give you the right answer, basically. So AI with context is very useful. Imagine asking an AI to summarize your project status, and it can actually pull from your tax board and your repos instead of you having to paste everything in manually. All right. So MCP in action. Here are some examples of what you can connect AI to. For developers, GitHub, you can use it to query repositories, create issues, search code, understand what a particular repository is all about, or even use it to triage GitHub issues. You can also connect it to your Google Drive, search and summarize document. You can connect it to your workspace, to better understand conversations that are happening within company. Yeah. So the pattern is simple. Whatever tool you already use, MCP lets AI plug into it. Awesome. All right. So let me tell you how I use AI at work. So I needed to contribute to a code base that I was not familiar with. And instead of spending days reading through documentation and code, because usually that's what we do. And for my organization, we have a bunch of documentation that you have to go through to understand the context, especially when you're contributing to external team's code base. So what I did was I gave AI access to the internal documentation and also the code patterns, code examples, and the repo that I was going to work with. The agent was able to write the code. I reviewed it, tested it. The agent wrote unit test, and I tested that to be sure that all the edge cases were met, and that code was shipped. So the key insight here is that AI is not only as good as the context you give it. It's it if you give it vague instructions with no background, you also get vague results. And if you give it access to the right information, it becomes genuinely powerful. All right. So for our demo today, we're going to have two levels or two kinds of demo. The first one would be, connecting Claude with connectors or MCP connectors. And we're going to use Claude for Chrome for AI assisted web search and also use it to analyze some spreadsheets. And for developers, we're also going to use Context 7, which is a documentation MCP to query some docs to understand a particular code base or website. And then the other demo is we're going to build with an IDE. So we're going to tell AI what we want to build, and the AI will generate the code, will preview it, and also iterate with feedback. And I would also, uh, deploy these to Cloudflare for testing so you can see it live. Okay, so I'm going to change my screen to start the demo with Claude for Code. Give me a second why I change the screen. Okay, awesome. So for our first demo, we're going to use Claude for Chrome to do some research, to browse the internet, get some ideas, basically day to day activities. So I already have the Claude Chrome extension, but for you to start, you would want to install Claude for Code. If you're using Chrome, you go to the Chrome extension store and then install Claude for Chrome. So you can search it here, or you go to Google and then you install. Make sure you install it from Anthropic because this is the official Chrome extension. All right. So since I already have that set up and I've also authenticated, we're going to go ahead with all right. Okay. So I'm going to spin this on. So I have the extension open by pressing Command E. I use Mac, but on Windows it will most likely be Control E. Okay, so this is the extension. It's saying it's in beta. Yeah, and this is very important to note. Claude can take screenshots when responding. For privacy, avoiding using Claude on sensitive sites like health and dating platforms. And also be careful of the site you use Claude with, because if if you use it on a malicious website, the website authors could inject code or something to steal your data, and you don't want that. So ensure you only use it on trusted platforms. Okay. All right. So I'm going to change this to Sonnet 4.5, which is a very good model, actually. All right. Let me know in chat, what you would like us to research or to work on. Okay. Okay. So that is while you're adding that in chat, we can just go ahead. All right. So Valentine is coming February 14th. So let's use Claude to search for some gift ideas, for our loved ones. So just put it there. Can you recommend gift ideas for a couple? Something. And also, as I mentioned, AI is good based on the context that you give it. So I want gift ideas for couples in Nigeria, for example. Because if I don't put the location, it could suggest based on where I'm currently living, and or it could be random. All right, then Claude would ask you to approve. So it says allow actions on this side, approach to follow. So to search gift ideas in Nigeria, look for both traditional Nigerian gifts, look for consider locally available products, etc., like that. So I'm going to approve this and we're going to see, yeah, the magic that happens. So I have so now I have the AI controlling my browser. I'm not typing anything. You can see my hand, and it's going to say gift ideas for couples in Nigeria. It's going to browse some pages actually. So this is not magic. It's AI. And it's also able to click. It's going to close the consent, as you can see, and it's also going to close this pop-up by itself. And I'm not doing anything. These are my hands. I don't know if you can see me on the little screen. There's a little screen to the bottom left corner of the screen. Okay, so Claude wants to navigate to, okay, allow that. So essentially, you can also use this for research. I'm going to do one more example of that. How you can use Claude to perform research or even summarize long documents. So the only thing I'm doing is to just allow the action. I'm not browsing, I'm not doing anything. And also, while I'm using Claude as an example, you can also use this with ChatGPT, I believe, and also the ID, which I'm going to show later. Okay, so Claude has done its research, and then you can see romantic and personalized gift, including their price range, you know, what they mean or what they stand for, practical and home gift. And then it also includes where you can get them. So before, this would have taken maybe some hours to do because you have to go to each site, then you have to document, maybe write it down somewhere to know, which products you've looked at, the pricing, things like that, and then do the comparison yourself. But with AI and also with access to tools, they're able to do that efficiently and even faster for you. All right. I'm going to go to research gates and bring up one research. Let's see. All right. So currently doing my master's in data analytics. So I'm going to, use that as an example. So let's look at this research paper and then we can ask Claude, can you summarize this research? So with access to tools, Claude is, visit the current research kits page to understand the paper structure and then summarize the findings. I'm going to approve that. Jamil, give me a second. I'm not sure. Okay. Are online stores safe to use Claude? To use Claude now, do we use Claude? I'm not sure I understand that, but I think the first part of the question is, can you use Claude with online stores? Where's my browser? A second. That's weird. Okay. Sorry, my browser shut down, which was weird. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask it again to summarize the document. Okay. So Jamil, are online stores safe to use Claude? So the use case here is that as a user, you can use Claude to to search for products, to compare products, and to search and compare products. Basically, I don't think they have the capability of shopping, of performing that action. I know there are talks about payment integrations and things like that, and also I'll be careful with that, because you don't want your AI to run off and and buy things for you when you don't need them. So, but for as a user, you can actually use Claude on an e-commerce platform or on a product platform, to research and also compare products. Oh, okay, okay. I understand now. No, you can't do that because Temu would still control. They still they have control over what order gets cancelled. I haven't used Temu before, but I know Temu is an online platform, right? And if they have the capability for you to cancel an order, right? Yes, you can use Claude to automate that task. You can give it an instruction and say, okay, log into Temu, cancel this order, this particular order I made, and Claude can actually cancel that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yes. So we have the summary here, on big data analytics, and then you can see what the focus point is. The study examines the role of big data analytics in modern organization organizational decision making and management, particularly in the context of digital transformation and information overload. And then you also have the characteristics, the benefits, the challenges identified, and also any future recommendation. Um, Let me see. Okay, so all right, I'm going to ask it a follow-up question. What are the challenges of data fragmentation and integration? All right, and then you can see based on the research paper, as key challenges, but it doesn't provide extensive detail about the specific nature of these challenges in the abstract. Yeah. So again, AI is as useful as the context you give them because it's only able to, access this particular page. That is why it gave that kind of response. Another thing you can do is you can download. I believe you can download this. You can download this, upload, and then the AI would have full context of the research paper and be able to give better answer. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to move on to do some spreadsheet analysis with Claude. Again, I'm using Claude as an example. I've been using Claude for quite some time. So, but you can also do these with ChatGPT, Gemini, and some other LLMs as well. Okay, so I'm going to add a file. Uh, do, 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 do. This one. All right, so this file, I don't know if you can see my window. This file is the small business sales spreadsheet, which contains some data for a particular business. All right, so going to hands. Oh yeah, I think I need to share my. Okay, I'm already sharing that. Which month has the highest sale? Okay, so in Claude.ai, in a new chat, I uploaded a file and then gave it this prompt. So, which month has the highest sale? Hi, Larry. So, yeah, I'm a software engineer, and I prefer Claude because it's actually one of the best model in terms of software engineering. It's able to it performs better than other models. I use ChatGPT and Gemini as well, but I mostly use ChatGPT for research. If I want to research an idea or, research something, I use ChatGPT for that. Or if I want to refine an idea, I use ChatGPT for that. For Gemini, Gemini has access to the Google ecosystem, the Google Workspace, your Gmail, your Google Docs, things like that. So I use Gemini in that regard. If I want to, usually for research as well, not, for coding. And sometimes if I'm blocked, let's say I'm working on something and for some reason, Claude is not giving me what I want. So I can switch to Gemini, and give it the same prompt. And sometimes Gemini is able to fix whatever it is or solve or solve the problem that I was facing. Okay. All right. So looking at the small business sales documents I provided it, there is no way to preview this. So I asked it which month has the highest sale, and it's able to analyze that and tell me, December 2025 has the highest total sale revenue at this amount, and which is ahead of June and March as well. What's the best to use on Outlook mail platform? So I don't use Outlook. So if you can access your mail on the web, you can also use Claude. Yeah, you can also use the Claude for Chrome extension. Since that works on the browser. So yeah. Okay, so going to ask it another question. So why is December the month with the highest total sales revenue? All right, feel free to add your question in chat and I'll respond to them as I proceed. Although we do have another section for Q&A, you know. Okay, so I asked Claude, why is December the month with the highest total sales revenue? Circling back to what I mentioned earlier about AI agents, AI agents is basically LLMs that have access to tools. And if we look at the reasoning, so we call this reasoning, the LLM reasoning, here it says analyze December sales breakdown and compare with other top months. And you can see it's able to write a code. So it wrote a program to analyze the spreadsheet, and this is the output it gave. So this is an agent in action, basically. Okay, then yeah, so these are the reason, these are the reason. All right, I'm going to create another chat session and provide it another document, student exam results. Okay, so for this, can you summarize the spreadsheet and identify any outliers? With the sales analysis, when you say sales analysis, what do you mean? Are you talking about the previous spreadsheet where I asked Claude to, identify months with highest revenue? Okay, so this is the summary. I just gave it some spreadsheets. Is there a way to show this? No, there is no way. So I gave it some spreadsheet, and it's able to summarize that the data set contains 79 exam results for 32 unique students. So this is another use case of AI agent where as an educator, as a business owner, you can also use these tools to to enhance your productivity, basically. Okay, and then we also have some statistics here. The average total score is 55.9, which falls squarely in the C grade range. And yeah, it's also able to identify the department and all of that. Let me ask you to do something. Can you visualize? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to visualize, all of this data because these texts are a lot, and yeah, let's see if we can visualize it to better understand what it's all about. And you can see Claude is writing some code, and that's because it also have access to tools to be able to write to be able to write programs basically. So it will write a program to visualize those data and possibly generate an image of it. Okay, so I'm not doing anything. Let's give it some time. Daniel, okay, let me. Comfortable associates, thank you. Yeah, so Daniel, to answer your question, in what scenario would I have to build my own LLM or MCP? That's a good question. I would say before AI agents became a thing, the usual pattern would be that you build or you train your own LLM, right? And training your LLM can be very expensive. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and they can also become outdated quickly. So the goal of training an LLM is to be able to provide it with some context, so that they can perform in certain ways. We have some LLMs that are focused on security audits, that are focused on security audits. We have some LLMs that are focused on what's the word now? Text generation, right? So they have different use case. So imagine you're an insurance company and then you have gigabytes of data and then you train the LLM, on those data. And then over the years, you accumulate more gigabytes of data. And then, you have to retrain those LLMs. So they become outdated quickly, basically. And this is one of the goals or one of the instances where MCPs shines, so you don't have to train, you just provide the AI with the access to those data. So that it can have access to those data in real time, saving you cost of training a model, you know, even building the data, because that's another thing you have to do. You have to build the data to train the LLM. So yeah, so that would be a scenario. You want to give an LLM access to real time data. A user signs up on your platform, for example, and you want to do some analysis, you would build an MCP to be able to do that so that you can retrieve the data from your database or wherever it is stored, as opposed to training. Okay, so it looks like that's a bummer. So I've been sharing the wrong screen. It looks like What you guys are seeing is not what I've been showing for quite some time. No, not that one. Should be this one. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So it looks like I've been showing the research gates, and I've since moved away from that. Can you see my screen now? Oh, yes, you can see my screen now. Okay. Let me do a quick recap of what I've been doing. So we have, I gave Claude this data, the student exam result, and then I asked it to summarize the spreadsheet and identify any outliers, which are what we have here. But these texts are a lot. I'd have to go through them, to read them, to understand, what those outliers are or what the document is all about. And then I went ahead to ask it to visualize the data, so that I can quickly or easily consume them. Okay, so and Claude was able to do this. Before I show you the results, this is what the thinking, the thought of the AI, and this is another thing. Reviewing the thinking would also allow you to understand what the thought process of the LLM is, and see if you want to redirect it, in case the output is not what you want. And also, can't open this. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Okay. So yeah, so this is the results. The AI agent was able to do this. It used the program. Sorry, excuse me. It used the programming tool, to create this dashboard of the spreadsheet I provided to it. And this is easy to digest. This is easy to consume. And I can do a quick scan through of what this is all about. So we have 79 record, 32 students, 4 departments, 12 courses, right? And the average pass rate is 82.3%. And this is the grade distribution. C, 18 students have C, and 13 students failed. And this is what the semester comparison is. 64.5% of the students, 64.5% of the students are probably enrolled in the semester. So that's another thing. You can also, ask the agent to clarify, what is this metric for? Is it the pass rate in percentage, or average, the average value? All right, and this is the score distribution. You can also see this is Ibrahim Bello, who is a computer science student. And in CA, Ibrahim had 67%, in exam 63%, and he falls under the grade B with his total score. So you can see how you know how the data is distributed. And the beauty of this is you didn't have to write anything. I didn't write anything. The AI agent did all of this and presented it as a file. And I can also download this, and distribute. I can download this, send it to maybe my colleague to review or even improve on it. So, and you have different tabs. So this is by department, yeah. So this is by department, how the grades are distributed, and then these are the outliers. So Chioma Abubakar with 54 points, best in this particular course, getting she got 85% of the total mark and was in this particular course with 31 percent of the total mark. So you can see how the students are distributed. And I did all of these in less than 2 minutes, you know, less than 2 minutes. So these are the top five scorers, the bottom five scores. Yeah. Before now, you would have to go through the document and do all of that yourself. All right. Let me see. Can we do one more? Give me a second. Okay, so let's say we have this, right? This is very good for easy consumption. Now, let me also ask it to generate a summary report, which I can forward to my manager, for example, or to the proprietress or proprietor of the school, for example. So, can you write a summary report based on the data? We'll still get there. You also need to verify. So, one important thing is AI can make mistakes. So, ensure you always verify whatever it outputs. Even though this looks good, you still need to do some verifications to ensure that the data is not misrepresented. Oh yeah, then you can see my screen as the AI is writing a JavaScript code to be able to generate a Word document for the report. So you can do this with ChatGPT, Gemini, but yeah, I think Claude is good. You know, I'm biased in that aspect. So, hi Jamil, I'm still waiting for your clarification on the sales analysis. I'm not sure I understand, what you were trying to say there. Okay, so we'll just wait few minutes for the AI to do its thing. And another beauty is you don't even need to understand programming. You chat it up and it's able to generate this. So once we're done with this, we'll move on to the next summary, to the next demo. Sorry. Okay, so the summary is done and the AI generated a Word document. Okay. All right. And I mean, this looks nice. It looks, it beautifies the document. Okay, so we have the executive summary, you know, with a summary of what the document is about and the table, then the grade distribution, the department performance, continuous assessment, I mean, this is a very detailed report, if you ask me, and it also shows, the students with the highest scores and those with the lowest scores. So yeah, and it's included recommendations as well. Yeah, I was able to generate this in maybe 5 minutes. Understand what the data is all about, visualize the data, and also generate a report from the data. Always ensure to verify the output to ensure that it's consistent with the data you provide, because AI can make mistakes as well. Okay, so moving on. We're done with the. Okay, I think the other part. The next thing is the documentation. Let me quickly show that. So, and this is focused on the developers. If you're a developer on the live, sorry, if you're a developer joining, I think you'll find this useful. So context 7 is an MCP that you can use to provide documentation to your AI agent. So it has access to a bunch of documentations, even for Paystack. I recently noticed that Paystack, they've had their docs exactly. So, and the beauty of this is, instead of, let's say you're building, you're working on something, right? And instead of copying a part of the documentation or screenshotting it, you can just have context 7 installed and then tell the agent to use context 7, to provide context or to solve whatever problem you're trying to solve. And then you have some popular framework as well for React. This is React Dev. So you have the documentation for React, and also I believe the repository. So it has access to all of this. So yeah, so I'm going to show you. So to install, the first thing you need to do is install the MCP, right? So we have the install button here. Going to click on that. Takes you to github.com, documentation where you would see instructions on how to install. So in Cursor, in Cloud Code, and Open Code, can install. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to be using context 7 in Claude.ai, not in Cloud Code or in an ID, going to use it on the website. So in order for you to add it, you would click on, this plus sign, connectors, and then manage connectors. It brings you here. So these are some of the connectors I've added. And so this is context 7. I've already configured it. I'm trying to see if I can edit. No, I cannot edit. Okay, let me. So I'm going to remove, to show you how you can install. So here, you click on the browse connectors and then you search context 7 and you click on the plus sign. So there are other connectors that you can add. There is one for Stripe, if you work with Stripe or Slack, Sentry, you know, there are there are other tools, even Figma. So as a developer, you can also connect Figma to, you know, to provide access to whatever design you're working on to the AI agent. I'm going to click on the plus sign and it is asking me to sign up. Do, 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 do. Can't remember which, yeah, no, not that one. Okay, so going to sign in. to authorize, and I would allow this, and then we're back here. So now you have context 7 connected. So you can say using context 7 MCP, how can I connect or how can I integrate a stack into my website? Okay, so now you can see the agent is using context 7 query docs tool to search the context 7 websites on how to integrate Paystack into a website. Okay, then I am going to allow this. Okay, going to allow that. Not a bummer. So it says Paystack documentation isn't indexed on context 7. So sometimes, it might not be accurate because I mean we're able to see that there is space tag documentation there, but then it's able to search the internet. Yeah, it's able to search the internet, and it's able to use that to provide a response for us. So this is how you integrate Paystack into your website. All right. I don't know. Are there any questions from the first demo before we move to the next one? Okay. Leave your questions in chat and I'll attend to them as we proceed. Okay. All right. Moving on. So the next demo is for us to use an IDE. The next demo is for us to use an IDE to build a simple landing page, and which we are going to deploy to Cloudflare. And the IDE we're going to use is anti-graffiti, Google anti-graffiti. So there are a lot of IDEs you can use. There's the Cursor, there is Cursor, there is Windsurf, there is which other one? Yeah, there are a lot of IDEs you can use. But I chose anti-graffiti because currently it's free. So you can, download these on your computer and also, make use of it. You don't have to pay anything at the moment. The only limitation is that it's rate limited. So you might not be able to use it for an extended period of time. And then if you have the Google One plan, you can, you have the rate limit extended a little bit. All right. So to download anti-graffiti, you click on the download button here. And based on your device, if it's Windows, you click on one of these options, depending on your system's architecture, or Linux or macOS. Okay, so I already have anti-gravity installed, so I'll just switch the screen to the IDE. All right. Okay, so moving on. This is anti-gravity. What we're going to do is build a simple landing page, and also to show that it's very easy to prototype or to build a landing page, a portfolio page, simple website using AI agent. You can also use it for complex, but if you are not technical, it can be a little bit challenging in that regard. Okay, so this is anti-gravity. It's an IDE. IDE is integrated development environment, which you use to write programs, to edit code, and also run code as well. Anti-graffiti have this option, Open Agent Manager, since some of us are not, technically inclined. I'm going to use the Agents Manager. So with these, you just have the chat interface, and then you tell it what you want to build, and it does that for you. Compared to this one where you have to like look at you look at the files, edit the files, and you can also manually create files if you want. Okay, so going to start a new session in session one, and then let's say build a landing page for an insurance company with a hero services footer contact us from. Okay, so then I would say using HTML, JavaScript, and okay. All right, so this is in planning mode. You can also move it away from planning mode to execute. The beauty of planning mode is if you want to iterate over your idea, you can use planning mode. It generates a plan, and then you review the plan and decide where you want to proceed. Otherwise, you can use the fast mode, and it would run off and generate the code for you. Let's use the planning mode to see how that looks like. You can also choose your model. Again, model generates the code, but the the beauty of it is when you can connect them to tools, and that's when they become agents. So we'll stick with Gemini 3 Pro I. We'll stick with Gemini 3 Pro I. All right, so going to click on send, and the agent would run off and do it in. We can't see your screen. Oh, that's a bummer. Sorry, give me a second. So I'm using a streaming platform, and it's a little bit manual, changing between screen. Actually, let me see which one is it. This yes, it's. Can you see my screen now? Yeah. Okay, so let me go over what I did. I gave the agent this prompt. After clicking on the Open Agent Manager, we have this screen, and I gave it this prompt to build a landing page for an insurance company. You know what? Let me start again so that you can follow along. No, not that one. Okay. So when you click on the Open Agent Manager, you have this screen, this interface. And then I gave it this prompt, build a landing page for an insurance company with a hero, our services, footer, and contact us form sections using HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So this is the instruction. I mean, if you want to do this in a professional setting, you would want to also tell it what your company is about, what are those services you provide, and if there are other informations you want to put on the website. But for the purpose of this demo, would allow you to generate a generic one. And then you also have the conversation mode where you can choose between planning and fast. Planning allows the agent to create a plan, and then you can review, iterate on it before deciding to execute. And then you have the fast mode, which would allow the agent to execute the tasks directly. And then you have the model. You can choose your model, Claude Sonnet, Gemini 3 Pro, etc. like that. I've actually found Gemini 3 Pro to be good. I remember there was a bug that I was trying to fix with Claude Code, and Claude Code was, it was hallucinating. It wasn't able to fix that bug. But putting it in anti-graffiti, and that was when anti-graffiti just got released. So I was like, okay, let me try anti-graffiti to see if it will work. And it actually worked. Like, it fixed the bug, and I was able to move on. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to click on send to let the agent do its thing. Yeah. Okay, so the agent has created a plan, and you can see insurance landing page tags, planning and design. Yeah, it's over working. I didn't ask it to proceed, but it went ahead to proceed. But anyway, let me open the plan. Where are you? Yeah. So this is the plan: planning and design, create implementation plan, get user approval, which it did not get my approval before proceeding, but it could be a setting that I enabled. And then set up project structure, implement global styles and typography, build the different section, add interactivity, and then also verify responsiveness and aesthetic. So the agent is going to do all of these things. And yeah, it's currently implementing. So we just, oh yeah, the file already exists. Yeah, but it's going to sort that out and fix itself. Okay, so let's give it some couple of minutes, for the agent to do its thing. So let me know if you have questions. Please drop them, and I will answer them as we proceed. think another use case is, let's say you have, let's say some of your records are not digitized. The LLM, they also have vision. They have vision capabilities. So you can provide it a screenshot or an image, and the LLM can, the agent now can, you know, read the image and can read the image to determine what's what's in it, and use it as context. So I have the preview open. Going to give me a second. Okay. Yep. Okay, so this is the preview. This is what the agent was able to build in how many minutes? Less than 10 minutes. You know, so you have the hero, the guardian, and then you have the text. Then you have the expertise section, some trusts or some banner basically. And then you also have the contact information here. Ideally, this would have taken months of planning if you were to work with a developer, a product designer, product manager. It would take months of planning. How do we want this section to look like? What is going to be the copy that we want to put on the website? Which approach are we going to take to do all of these things? But in less than 20 minutes, we have the website. And you can also go ahead and say, okay, can you, so we have the services as a section. You can also go ahead and say, okay, can you have a dedicated page for the services where, it talks about those services in detail. And then, you have the contacts and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to share the other screen now. Awesome. So now let's look at what the, maybe the thinking process. So the first thing was to implement the structure based on the plan, and then, added some styling and logic, and then it did, the verification and walkthrough. And as I mentioned, with this interface, you don't even need to see the files. You don't need to see the code that it generates. We can iterate. Let me see, what can we change here? Let's say for life insurance, it should create a dedicated page for life insurance, and then update the link on the home page. So let's do that. All right. So for life insurance services or service, create a dedicated landing page and link it to the home page. Okay. So let's see. All right. So for the life insurance page, we have a plan. You know, it's going to plan new page structure, create liveinsurance.html, link it from the home page, verify linkage and design, and the responsiveness and aesthetic. I know for some developers, they will be like, how are we going to earn? If AI can do all of these things, then that means we don't get the job again. Okay, so all right, so we have the page built. Let me refresh. And then coming back here, we have it linked now. If I click on this, you have the life insurance page, and it added some animation as well, you know, and then some plans. And you can click on these to contact. So, see, we're able to create 2 pages in less than 30 minutes and also link it to each other. And you can do this using the Google Anti-Gravity, which is free. You only have some limits, you know. Okay, so now let's deploy this to Cloudflare. Cloudflare is it's one of the easy platform to deploy to. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to let me share the. Oh yeah, so the agent is still verifying. Interestingly, the agent is still verifying, and I think it's done now. It's done with the verification process. Awesome. So now deploy these to Cloudflare with the guardian.temitayo.dev router zone. So now I said you should deploy this to Cloudflare under guardian.temitayo.dev so that when you go to guardian.temitayo.dev, you see the website and you're able to access it there. So, and also, you don't need to like read a lot of documentations to be able to do all of these things. And you can see the agent is also running some commands. It's trying to check who is currently authenticated. So yeah, it says I'm not authenticated. And let me see. Okay, so I'm going to authenticate now off screen. Give me a second. Okay, I think we are authenticated. Okay, so I've just logged in. I'm going to click on continue for it to proceed. Okay, so it's going to verify to check my login status and proceed to deploy the website. So if you are non-technical, you can do all of this, less than 20 minutes. For those of us in Nigeria having electricity issues, can we access? One of these resource true. Yes, you can. I know Claude have they have Claude Web, right? Which you can do a handoff. So if you're working on your computer, you can hand it off to continue on the web and on your mobile app. Cursor have something similar as well. They have a similar feature where you can hand off to your phone. So yeah, so that's possible. And yeah, I think the requirement is, you just have to use the same account to access it on both your phone and on your computer. Okay, so it says it has deployed. Let me see. Yeah, I think it got stuck. So it's trying to search the internet for the right Wrangler command. Another thing I can do is install the Cloudflare documentation MCP so that it can use that to get the right documentation. Okay. Do. Okay, so it says it has you know, deploy this to guardiansinsurance.pages.dev. So you can visit this on your computer right now. Visit this on your computer and let me know if you can access the website guardian-insurance.pages.dev. Let me know if you can access this on your computer. Okay, can you access it? I'm waiting for your response. Let me know in chat. Can you access guardian-insurance.pages.dev on, wherever you're joining from? Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we just did a walkthrough of creating a website with no technical experience, using an AI agent that have access to tools like creating a file, you know, the programming knowledge as well, the programming tools, the search, internet tools as well, because it's able to go to the internet to retrieve information, view documentation, and then use that in solving the problem. And also, it's also have the capability of deploying the website to the internet. So yeah, so that's yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the demo. So it said, the agent said, regarding the custom domain, it can't deploy under this domain because it's not supported, but it has updated the walkthrough. And so the walkthrough is like a documentation, showing what it did and also how it's verified what it did. So, for example, you have the visual verification of the hero section, and then you have the services section, the contact and footer, the life insurance page, and then what are the key features that were implemented. It added smooth scrolling, scroll animations, over effect. If let me refresh. Oh, I'm not sharing the other screen. Sorry. Okay, so if I refresh and then you go to a section, you have the animation of the text going up and yeah, and fading in. Sorry about that. All right. By the next session, I think we would have gotten a hang of the streaming software that we are using. Yeah. Okay, so this is a walkthrough. As I was explaining, you have the hero section verification, the services, the contacts section, life insurance, etc., like that. And it's also documented the deployment. So yeah, this concludes our section. The second demo. Going to go ahead and go to the presentation. Okay. So yeah. So moving on, let's talk about AI safety and security. While so while I've been able to show the capabilities of AI and AI agents as well, it's also important to understand the security risks that are attached to using systems like this. So the first thing is ensure you verify all output. Because the way AI works, in terms of the technicality, it's able to, using statistics and probability, to generate its output. So you also need to verify that the output is actually what you expect. AI can hallucinate, they can make up words, they can make up things. Even when you give it a particular data, it can make up something that is not in the data or the context you provide it. So, and always review before you use or ship anything. Secondly, protect your data. When I showed how to use Claude for Chrome, it's able to go to some website, perform some actions on your behalf. So you also need to ensure that the website you're trying to use is a trusted website, and also the actions you want it to perform are, you know, they are not intrusive and won't cause any data breach, basically. So do not paste passwords, API keys, or sensitive personal information into AI tools. If you do that, it can generate those information for other people as well. And also check your company policies. while I'm able to use AI at work, it's because we have policies on AI usage. We have internal tools that we use, the documentation tools, the GitLab, Jira tools, the ticketing tools and all of that, they are internal. So, and they've gone through all the security checks and all of that. So ensure you check what your company policy is before you use any of these on internal data. Yeah, and then also respect copyright, because AI can generate content that have licensing gray areas. Although sometimes it might not be possible to prove, you know, but yeah, ensure you check and you double check that whatever output the AI gives does not have any licensing gray areas. Okay, so basically, AI is a tool. You are responsible for how you use it. Okay, so what are the free alternatives? We have the Craft AI Playground, which without signing up, you don't need to put in your credit card information and all of that. You can have access to that, and you can also use some MCP clients with it. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so by going to playground.ai.cloudflare.com, you can, so you have access to this chat interface, and then you can choose the model that you want to use. So this might be a little bit technical, but I think what you most likely be interested in is maybe Llama 4, and yeah, this time with the MCP tag, and then you can provide it a system message. Am I sharing? Yes. No, I'm not sharing. That's a bummer. Can you see my browser? Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. All right. So yeah, so if you go to playground.ai.cloudflare.com, you have access to this interface. It's free. You don't need to sign in. You don't need to provide any API keys, to be able to use this. And then you can choose your model. Mostly you want to choose the Llama 4, and you provide it system message. So system message is basically how you want your how you want the model or the LLM to respond to your request. So yeah, and then the MCP server. So if you have a particular MCP server that you want to use, you can add it here and use. And you can give it a query. Let's say, what can we give it? Do, 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 do. What is the current? I don't know. What can we give? Okay, so let's say, tell me a joke, for example. You know, tell me a joke. Here's one. What do you call a fake noodle? An impasta. Hope that made you smile. So you can give it anything to work with. Yeah, and if you have an MCP, you can provide it. To give it context. Okay, so moving on. We have the Cloudflare AI Playground. It's free. Then there's Google Gemini, which also have free tier. And then you have the Microsoft Copilot, the Organ Chat, Perplexity, Poe. While these have free access, you also need to understand that you might not be able to get access to the bigger models with better capabilities. But yeah, it's a place to start to try things and also for research. Okay, so what are the key takeaways? Four things I want you to remember is AI plus context equals real productivity. I've been able to show you how to build a website using an AI agent, anti-graffiti. I was also able to show how you can use Claude for Chrome to, to do some research, to summarize a website, to compare products, to research products. And I was also able to show how you can summarize spreadsheets, data, basically. So the more context you're able to give it, the better the result you get, basically. So without context, AI is a novelty. With context, it is a multiplier. Human judgment requires, sorry, human judgment remains essential. So, you have to verify whatever the AI writes and ensure that it's the expected output, and never ship or act on AI output blindly. If you are going to use it for software development, for example, I would also say, or let me say, if you're going to use it for complex software development, I would say it would be good, to also use an AI agent to review the code to ensure that there are no security loopholes. And yeah, also start small, pick one task you do manually, and try to do that with AI. Okay, and finally, experiment freely. The free tools I just showed you mean you can explore without spending anything. And you can also use that to test the capabilities of different models, basically. Okay. All right. So now it's time for our Q&A. Thank you so much if you've been joining. If you've been joining this far, thank you so much. Uh, Let me know, are there questions? I know I've answered some of the questions as they pop up, but if you have questions, please put them in the chat and I'll respond to it. Okay, so while the questions are trickling in, Again, there are no wrong questions. Feel free to ask questions, and I will try my possible best to be able to answer them. Okay. Um, all right. So you can also, reach out to me on any of the social media platforms. Basically, if you go to fatherdutyme.com, you would see links to my social media platforms in case you have questions after this session, and I would definitely answer them. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining. In our next session, we're going to build an AI agent. We're going to build an AI agent. You can also send me you can also send me ideas of an agent you would like us to build. We're going to build it live using some of these tools that I just mentioned. And I'm not writing any code. So I'm not going to write any code. I'll let the agent do their thing to build an agent. So be sure to follow and subscribe so that you can get notified of the next session. All right. So yeah. So if today got you curious, next time we're going to get hands on. So all right. Thank you. Bye.